Time to put the engine on the frame, or maybe better, the frame on the engine. But before we do that, first I'll put the air filter box in there. Two mountings for the air filter box. They both attach like that on the sides of the air filter, but first you have to place them on the frame. That doesn't help much, but anyway. Don't tighten them up yet. Put the other one and let's go for the air filter box. Okay, now the air filter box goes in, and you have to put one here and one on the other side. And now we have the air filter box on and we're ready to put the engine. I know I should probably go with removing that air filter box and put just different method of air filtering, but I'd like to keep originality to 100% if possible, so I'm using that one. I'll try to place this bolt. Let's see. Okay. Whew. This part is done. And let's go for the next step. We have this mounting, and if you can see here, it says L right there, that's for left. There's another one on the other side, it should say R for right. Now this bolt here go up here, and these two bolts go here. This mounting looks forward to accept the fairing. It's quite inconvenient, as you can tell. Easy. I have to put these mountings on, one here and one there. Now have that mounting. You can see it has those two smaller holes and one bigger. The bigger one goes in here and the smaller ones go here. And let's put the bolt in there. Backwards. Now let's put this part up there and down there. And another mounting point is there. Let's do that. Now with the help of a screwdriver, just place it in there. Now I have this one, which has to go like that. And this is the stopper on the outside. And these ones go in there. And last but not least, this one goes in there, and that's where it goes, but there is a limited space for this, so you place it in there. And actually, last but not least, is this mounting, which goes between here and here. There is a L for left, it's gonna go on the other side, so that's how this is gonna go in there. The big hole is going to go on the engine, and the two smaller holes are going to go on the frame. Let's put the one on the other side. a long bolt in there. And now it's torque time. These ones, the small ones, they're about 50 to 60 Newton meters. So let's do the smaller ones first. I'll put it on 60 and so this one and the other one, which are 55 millimeters, as well as the ones further up, I'm going to show you in a minute, they go to 50 to 60 Newton meters. Yeah. And the same goes for these ones, 50 to 60. All at the same time, the bigger bolts of the engine mountings, which is that one and that one, these are 70 to 80 Newton meters. I put it on 80. Rear suspension. So we have to replace 2 bearings here, 2 in here, and 2 over here, which are all the same. And then I have to replace 2 over here. Let's start with that. Having a hydraulic pump, it works really well. And how I have to do this, I put a 26 millimeter, which is less than that washer from a kit that I have with various washers all the way up to 65 millimeters to push the bearings down. And underneath I put just a oxygen tool sensor removal socket, which will help. It doesn't have too much pressure, you just push it all the way down. The washer, and these are the 2 bearings. Let's replace them. And this is the code for all these 6 bearings for the linkage. All 6 are the same. Let's unpack one. I also write the dimensions on your screen now, and that's a brand new one. Let's put it back on. And after we clean the inside really well, we put a light amount of grease, any grease on both sides, just to make the installation of the bearing quicker. And now let's put it back on. If you remember, that has to be flush, so if I put just a washer, put it in there and bring it flush, that's more than enough. And it's right about there. Perfect. Right there, flush. Let's do the other one. And it's flashed as well, and that's how they should be. Now, let's go for the next step. Put some grease in there and put the axle on. Try to put some grease in there, even though they come with grease. Some grease on the shaft. Okay, let's put that in there. And we're done with that. Let's go to the next one. And as you can see, I've done something that I should have done from the beginning. Remove everything and remove them all at once, put them all at once. A bit of waste of time, but that's okay. Let's push them out. Perfect. All bearings, let's go put the new. And after, as usual, clean the surface, a bit of grease on both sides. And this is a brand new bearing, which I'm not sure what it writes down there. Perfect. Let's put this one. And just for camera purposes, that's how they are inside. Push them out. I'm gonna keep these to keep the old ones. You never know. nice and flush. This one's done. After you have assembled this, the sequence in which gonna go is some grease on the stem of the bolt. If you noticed, every nut is on the same side. That's why I left only one up here, to make sure that all the nuts and all the bolts came and gone through the correct side. That's how they go. And they're both flush. And as usual, a bit of extra grease. You won't have a bit of grease on the axle, a bit of grease on the bolt, just so I won't lose everything. I'll remove that later, that's for sure, but just so I won't lose anything later on. 25 millimeters goes in there. There's an axle in the center, and we'll push that axle to remove the other bearing on the outside. Flush. Let's go on the other side, but before we go on the other side, let's put the axle in, the spacer. Actually, it's not an axle. I'll put some grease around it to protect it from rust over the years. We put this one in first, and then we put the bearing. And that was it. Done with the bearings. Now let's put the swing arm on. One spacer here. To keep the grease in place and spaces to do. Perfect. Now this is ready to go up on the frame. Some grease on the axle to make sure it won't get rusty. And as you probably noticed, I forgot to put the chain slider on the first attempt. Thank God I didn't tighten up anything, so don't do my mistake and put the chain slider before you put the swing arm on the frame. So now let's put that in here. The bolt's gonna come on the other side like this, but we have to put the spacers, one here and one on the other side accordingly. Okay. One on this side and one on this side. Make sure they go right where they're supposed to be without smashing the O-ring. And it goes like that. 40 to 60 Newton meters for this one. I'll go with 60. And 60 Newton meters for that as well. Perfect. Now the cushion lever nut 1 and 2, that's 110 to 160 Newton meters. Let's do that. I'll go with 160. 160 for that one as well. We have to torque this nut, the cushion lever, to the frame, and that's again 110 to 160 Newton meters. Let's do that. And that hole helps us to go in there and go to the bolt. 460 and we're good. Last but not least, swing pivot nut 85 to 115. I'll go with 115 Newton meters. Let's tighten the steering stem nut. "40 to 60 Newton meters," they say, and then I'll show you what happens. I put it on 60. What we have to do is play this left and right, which is quite tight of course, 5 or 6 times they say. And then you can turn this a quarter of a turn out or half a turn out. Now I'm assuming that if it's 40 Newton meters, that'll be just a quarter of a turn out. Well, if it's 60 Newton meters, that'll be half a turn out. So I'm gonna turn this half a turn out. So this has to come up here and supposedly we're good. No, now we start. That was a quarter, and this is roughly half turn out. Definitely much better, much more free. I don't see any slack, but this is something to be assessed when the thing is up with all the weight and the wheels and the braking acceleration. At the moment we're good. Let's put the front forks on. Now let's put these two forks in here, and there is a detail on how much they should protrude further up here. Let me show you that. This is R for right, I suppose. And now we'll have to be do you see that line? That line has to be flush with the top yoke. Let's take it there. Gee, I can't see very well. Roughly there. And now I'll tighten these Allen bolts. And these two lightly, so it won't go anywhere. And this is the end cap nut, which is 30 millimeters if I remember correctly, and this will torque it 30 to 40 Newton meters, and of course I'll go with 40. A bit of protection so it won't damage the edges. Okay, now these two top, 35 to 55 Newton meters. You know me, I'll go with the highest, 55 Newton meters. Perfect. Well, these ones 2 and 2 are 25 to 40 Newton meters. I'll go with 40. Perfect. Suzuki suggests for the spring preload adjuster, which is this, to have it on 4 lines from the top if you're riding by yourself, or 5 if you have a passenger. Let me show you what I mean when I say lines. And these are the lines I'm talking about: 7th, 6th, 5th, 4th, 3rd, 2nd and 1st. And now when you're all by yourself, which that's what I'm gonna be, you have to take it on the 4th. 1, 2, 3 and 4. Right there. You do the same for the other one. And this is where we adjust and rebound. Now Suzuki suggests that you go all the way in. Once you stop, you go backwards until you find the first click, which is there. That's position number 1. For solo riding is 5, which is what I'm gonna do now. So this was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If it was for 2 people, the original factory setting is 2. Do the same on the other one. And this is where we adjust the compression side. Likewise, we go inwards. Once we hit dead end, we go backwards until we find the first spot. That's the first spot. It has to be 6 if it's single riding and 3 if it's dual riding. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Make sure you do the same on the other thing. Now to adjust the rear suspension, the compression can be adjusted by having the spring length, which is from up here all the way to down here, 187 millimeters if it's single riding, or 182 if you do dual riding. And the damping force adjuster, you have to come on the left hand side of the bike, on the top of the shock absorber, and there is the adjuster. With your finger you can move it left to right. It's 2 for single riding and I think 4 for dual riding. Mine it's already on 2 and I'm not going to do any changes. And these are the factory settings for a GSXR 750 1988 1989 models. I hope you enjoyed the video so far. I know it was a big one, but I cannot combine them any better. The next one might take some time because I'm leaving for holidays, America and then Greece, and then I'll be back on the 2nd of September or 3rd 2024 and I'll start with my project again. I know it takes time, but it is what it is, right? See you on the next one.